Italia!
All right. God bless Spanish internet. Anyway, okay. Can you guys give me a sound check? Let me know if you can hear me okay. It's kind of difficult for me to tell on this side. Yeah, so I guess welcome to, I guess this is the inaugural Shane rant about the fucking situation at the club right now. And it's more geared towards other sections of the fan base as well, because, I think we need a bit of clarity as to what's going on. And I think this should help a good bit. But essentially, though, guys, there has been thank you, Fad. Appreciate it, man. So essentially, the fan base is kind of turning in on itself at this point, and we just need to remember one clear thing: that the whole reason that we're all pissed off, we're getting pissed off at the wrong people for one. Instead of getting upset at one another about who's supporting Redbird, or who's pissed off that Maldini was chucked out, or stuff like this. I think what's very important is we should remember the club that we support. We should remember why we support them, because they're a historic club. They're a huge club in the world of football. The 125th celebration is, it should have been a momentous time and a joyous time. But because the shit show that the club is at the moment, that's caused by one man, let's be honest here, guys. It's caused by Cardinale. Forget Maldini not being invited. Forget, Rivera not being invited. We expect these movements out of Cardinale and out of Redbird because they don't know the asset that they've bought. They don't know the asset that they've bought. They don't know its history in the world of football. Not only do they not know the asset that they've bought, right? They don't know the sport that the asset is playing in. They don't know the culture of the sport. And we're supposed to expect that magic algorithms are going to fix this shit show. I just want to confirm my standpoint, and I know it's the same for all of the other hosts on this channel, right? We were very skeptical when Cardinale came out and, started spouting this algorithm business. Okay? We also gave Cardinale an olive branch. When Tonali was sold, okay, we said, okay, we can understand, right? If he fills the squad with players, that fix the need, okay, we get it. We said we will give it time and we will see who is being bought. Right? So Maldini turned down the invite. I can understand why Fadinho, But yeah, so that's the invite to the 125th, right? But just to clarify where we stand as a channel, because I think this is important and it's getting kind of lost in the weeds a bit here. So we've always been on the side of, give Cardinale when he came in, it was give him time to see if he can actually, if he can implement what he wants. So the first big moment, I guess, was Tonali getting sold. Well, it was probably, Maldini getting chucked out. That was a huge moment, but I'm not going to talk about him because I don't want us to be painted as, a channel that's existing just because of Paolo Maldini. That was a huge moment. But again, while we were angry at the decision, we also said, okay, we will see how this pans out. And it might turn out into something productive. It could have done, right? So it didn't. Next thing then, Tonali was sold, right? So we got in all of these, players. We got in Pulisic and we got in Rangers from that sale. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think really anyone else has panned out. Pulisic and Rangers, not only have they panned out, they have become great clutch players for us. I get it. But in the process of Tonali being sold, the squad has been crippled. And this is not a junk squad. This is not a bad squad. The problem with the squad is there is no balance anywhere because that fucking squad, right, is like it's been built by me in Football Manager 2024 or 2025, right? I like football, right? Does that mean that I can, buy the right players? No, because I don't know what I'm doing. I have the equivalent understanding about the players that I'm buying, to be honest. Like mine and Furlani's, right? My understanding of the players that I'm buying, right, are, or the players that Milan are buying, right, are about the same. And this is the guy that's, giving, he's the one that's responsible for signing off on these transfers. He's an issue. And to be honest, though, guys, he's not going to go fucking anywhere. He's not going to go anywhere, right? And I'll tell you why he won't go anywhere. Because he's there, right, on behalf of Elliot, who still own this fucking club until the loan is paid. So he's not going anywhere. As much as we'd want him to, he won't. Right? Okay, who else do we have? Moncada, right? Again, based on where we're at, a strike rate of, so for every Pulisic and every Rangers, and every Kalulu, okay? So we have Luka Romero, we have RLC, we have Luka Jovic. Who else do we have, guys? We have Pavlovic. We have Royale. And are you telling me that Moncada has scouted the likes of Royale? Or, I'll be honest here, Pavlovic, and if he sees something special in that player, then there's a fucking problem. Right? So he needs to go. Right? Who else do we have? Okay, in this fucking triumvirate, right? So then we have Ibrahimovic, who, to be honest, Ibra as a player, right? I think he was quite likable. Forget even the two Scudettos, right, that he got us or had a huge part in getting us, right? Forget, I think there was something, his macho attitude, right, served him very well as a player. But he's not that player anymore. It's a completely different role. It's a complete turnoff. And he in no fucking way should be running anything to do with this club. It's a complete fucking failure. It's everything about it is, right? Everything about it, everything about it is a fucking failure, right? Okay, the next one. And this poor bastard, excuse the language, right? But this poor bastard, right, Fonseca, I feel very sorry for him. Right? I feel sorry for him because he is not the quality of coach that we should have gone for. He's the quality of coach that we got. Right? He's completely out of his depth. There's no man management skills there. Whatever about Pioli, right? And Pioli being, very much, I have plan A and I have no plan B, which Fonseca is very much the same type of coach, by the way. At least Pioli, right, was good at man management. The players liked him. If you're telling me, right, that after 6 months in your fucking job, you haven't been able to communicate to your players exactly what you need from them, Conte doesn't have that issue. I'm not saying Mata's doing, Mata's not setting the world on fire at Juventus, right? But he's still doing better for Juventus than Fonseca is doing for us based on the table. And they've been in the jobs the same amount of time as Fonseca. But this all goes back to all of those people that I just mentioned there, right, were put in place by Cardinale, right? Which you're trying a random, like a completely untested. When they talk about Moneyball has been done before, right? When they talk about Moneyball's been done before, right? And you get these smart arses, right, on all of the million of other fucking Milan channels, right? Which, by the way, an awful lot of them, an awful lot of them, guys. I'm just going to say it to you now, right? Be careful about the channels that you watch nowadays, right? Especially when it comes to Milan, because they will tell you that everything is going fucking well, right? When we're winning games, right, and we're slaughtering the likes of, I don't know, fucking Sassuolo, right? And they're all happy and they're dancing around the place then, right? And it's fucking whoop-de-doo, right? We're back on track, right? Understand where that is in the context of the trajectory of the club. Sassuolo are a fucking Serie B side, right? Real Madrid have been at the, in that game, you could see that Real Madrid must have, like, at one of their lowest UCL points, right, in the last decade, right? The Inter game, we were lucky we got Inter, right, after they basically have to give 100%, right, of their energy to Man City a couple of days before, right? And we managed to get Inter on the hop, right? All like a sizable amount of these channels, though, they're just hunting for you to subscribe to them. And please do, if you're an idiot and you like being fucking lied to, right? Because if you exist, if you're the type of person that wants to sit there and you want to be spoons fed bullshit that makes you feel good, right? This is not the channel for you. It is not. It is not. We don't do that there. We don't do that here. We don't. We don't do that here, right? So, okay, so who else? Right. So we got Cardinale, right, so we've covered Moncada, covered that fucking clown Forlani, right? Covered Ibrahimovic. I've covered Fonseca. Hopefully it's the last time that I'll have to cover for him, because it's literally getting to the point where the club that I've supported since I was about 6 or 7 years old, it's getting to the point now where I actually want them to lose to Verona. I want them to lose. I want them to lose because, as far as I'm concerned, it's the only fucking way that we get a manager that's actually decent. My big fear is, though, is that the ownership that we have right now, we are not guaranteed a manager of quality. If in fact, for Moneyball to work, it needs to be yes men, because it's not a manager. This club cannot have a manager that demands players that will bring him success. This club needs a fucking manager, right, who will just say, oh, yeah, you guys want to buy that player who, you've ran through your magic fucking baseball algorithms, right? And and he looks undervalued. Sure, bring him in. And somehow, right, just going into 2025, we're in a situation where people are surprised because we're failing this heavily. How is any of this? How is it ever, how is any of this ever going to work? Any of it. Forget about the club. Forget about Moneyball, right? If I said to you, right, we're going to cut out what we knew was, in the long-term trajectory, or let's say the medium-term trajectory, right, with Maldini, Massara and co, right, the medium term, fair enough, there was a drop-off, right, we get that. But the medium term, right, or even the fucking short-term trajectory, the club was going up, right? And Cardinale's answer was to fire everyone. And literally get in his own, to promote people, which we're seeing now, right, there is no fucking way that anyone in any management position at our club at the moment, like, if this was a company, right, and there were shareholders to answer to, God fucking help them. You know? And just going back to some other channels, guys, and this is what's been very concerning as well, because we've seen like a lot of it. It's the flip flopping in opinion. Like in sometimes, right? I've seen it with other hosts of other channels where they will say one thing one day, right, and the following day, right, they will completely contradict what they were fucking saying. My phone, they'll completely contradict what they were saying on a different pod the next day. Is that really someone that you want to be getting your information from? In life, forget Milan, right? If I said to you in life, right, take some advice off of that guy, right? And I said this to you, right? And I said, take some advice off of that guy, right? He tells you to do one thing on a fucking Thursday, and he tells you to do something completely different on the Friday. Is that a good guy to be getting some sort of guidance or information from, or advice? No. Like, and they say this, right? That, the worst times do bring out who people really are. And I've really seen it with this situation. You know, because you can literally fucking see it, like, and you know and put it this way, right? That I'm not saying that doesn't ever mean that you can change your opinion on things, because that's what makes you a good person, though. When you listen to reasons of logic and sense, and when your opinion is changed, that's fine. But that doesn't happen in 24 hours and then you revert back again, right? Do you know what I mean? Come on, guys, seriously, fuck me, right? I just had to get that rant out there. So I won't be able to do a podcast this weekend. I know the guys are talking about doing it, and they'll cover this in more, right? So, but just to go through it now, so there's been reports as well. So Moynier and Pulisic and Rangers have been offered new contracts apparently, and that's looking good. Great. Theo has not. He's been told that he can move to Man United in the transfer window. Um, Keep in mind as well, right, that other fuckwit channels, right, they won't tell you that he's moving because of the reasons that we stipulated on this channel, right? He has got serious personal stuff going on, right, and that's why he needs to move, right? He needs to move because he's getting kicked out the fucking club, and justifiably so, if it's true about what he's done, and I assume it is. Because as fucked up as Moneyball is, I can see them selling a world class left back. Forget about current form. And don't dare say to me, oh, world class is being consistent, right? If you had that personal shit hanging over your head, right, try and put in a shift. And if he has that hanging over his head and he's letting it get to them, then I'm sorry to say, guys, but then it's true. And if it's true, it's not a guy that we need at the club. So we're going to have to start again, and we're going to have fucking Jimenez, which, great, fair enough. I always want to see a young player doing well. I prefer to see a young player doing well, though, when it's not at the cost of us junking, like an excellent starter. All right. So that's my rant over. Sorry, this has been extremely productive for me. Yeah. All right. So let me just go through some of the comments from the chat. It's been short and sweet today. I just wanted to reach out to you guys because I wanted to do one of these, and it was just kind of difficult to get here on the weekend. So here we go. So Carmelo, let's talk Milan. Right. So after they sacked Maldini, after the assault Tonali, he was also willing to give them a chance, but it didn't take me long to figure things out. Honest to God, man, and this is the thing. This is the thing, right? Right, Carmelo, you know yourself, right? After, there's a big difference, right? Because you know this, right? I'm not going to mention anyone's real age, but there's a huge difference in how gullible and stupid a person is, right? In their 20s versus in their 30s. Because in the 20s, right, people are much more likely to believe the bullshit that they hear. Right. And in the 30s, it kind of switches to, oh, I need visual evidence of this before I'm going to sign up for it. And I think therein lies the understanding that most of the vocal online fans nowadays, most of them, the super vocal ones, I'm not mentioning any fucking names because I don't want to give them airtime. Most of the vocal fucking toxic motherfuckers on X that are our fan base these days, we're still sucking their mom's tits fucking 16 years ago. You know, it's right. Fadinho, another great point, right? And this is how you know Moneyball isn't working, right? Because 13 players signed in a span of 2 years. 13 players. Pulisic, no one needed to scout Pulisic. Everyone knew he was quality. But I'll still give them credit. But to be honest, guys, I'll give them some credit, but I genuinely don't think that fucking Pulisic would have been signed unless, if he was an American, he wouldn't have been signed because we wouldn't have had the foresight to sign him. Reindeers was a great buy. He was a great buy. Honest to God, the guy, I'm delighted he's renewing. I would give management serious kudos over that. But when you're doing Moneyball, which apparently involves using, you know, interpreting data, right? If your hit rate is 2 out of 13 players, how the flying fuck do you expect to make, to do anything competitive in the football club? Because keep in mind, to generate the cash for these fucking Moneyball players, it means we have to sell an existing one. So does that mean that we'll have to sell a starting player, go through 13 players for the hope of getting 2 good ones? And you can understand how, like, in the context of how much time that those quality players get, you can understand, right, how this isn't going to scale and it's not going to work. Logic would tell you this. Fucking other channels on YouTube wouldn't tell you this. Fucking logic and common sense would. Fonseca is good for the future, but not the first team manager and start senior players. Fahadinho, yeah. But the thing is we knew this. We knew this going in. We knew Fonseca wasn't the guy. It's not like Fonseca, you know. It's not like Fonseca's done anything spectacular at any club that he's been at. Unless you classify winning the Ukrainian league, where there's I think there's it's kind of pretty much promised to Shakhtar nowadays, no? So I mean, that's pretty much the extent of his management career. The Lille thing, that's fine. If he's doing well at Lille, that just shows, right, that he is not the level of coach that should be at a world class. Hopefully, we will still class ourselves as a world class club, even though that distinction is drifting further and further away all the time. But he's just not. He's not the character we should be looking for. So it's from Carmelo. Pioli was good in handling things. Thanks to having Maldini beside Niebuhr in the dressing room. Carmelo, I agree. So why was that changed? I'll tell you why that was changed is so because Maldini made the cardinal mistake of actually wanting sporting success at the club and being vocal about it on television and actually saying that, we need money to invest in this squad. So he was given the chop. Pioli didn't have anyone alongside him then. And Ibra, right? Ibra's best job, believe it or not, right? If I if I take away personal feelings and bias about the shit show that the club is right now, I would still see a role for Ibrahimovic, and that would be to go to be like a fucking enforcer in the locker room for whatever good coach that we have to make sure that the fucking players are keyed in. But his current role, completely unqualified for, and the results are just showing themselves on the pitch. I know. Sorry, Nico. I know. I'll have to get some flags made, man. But you don't like the photo. That's well, you can't really see it. I think it's actually it's actually sorry. It's a picture of the Empire State Building. There we go. Forza Soccer. Yep. Carmelo shout out. Don't be in Egypt. Follow Milanistas 360 Milanista report. Spot on. Christian Pez, my friend, indeed. Forza Soccer. So let's have a look. Don't trigger me with this, man. No. Is Balo Riki better than Abraham and Chicken Royale? Well, no. And I'm not saying that, they're definitely not. But you see, the thing is I think, the one excuse that fans had that were very pro Redbird until the start of this season it was always oh, well, look at the amount of young players that Maldini got in. Um, but and this is, sorry, I'll go off on another rant here, right? When people say this and talk about the young players that Maldini got in, right, keep in mind, right, that if your fucking chairman says you have 5 million to spend on a player, go and do it. How much quality of a player do you think you're going to bring in? Right? When you're not given anything for a transfer window. And then you blow it all on the worst player ever, like CDK, who gets, what is it, 5 assists in a fucking Champions League game. Could we not just talk about, the fact that Maldini being one of the greatest one of the greatest left backs ever, like probably like one of, if not the best. Could we not just maybe give him the benefit of the doubt that he understands what a potentially successful player looks like? Compare that to Ferlani or Mancada even. Sacked Fonseca now forced too late. 100%, 100%. But the thing is, you see, what's going to happen is it should be a situation where management are looking for any excuse to fire, right? If you have a competitive management, right, and things are not going well, that management, right, will look for any excuse to get rid of a coach. How we don't have serious management is because they're literally looking for any excuse to keep him in the job. If we put through a string of results against junk teams, right? Or not, sorry guys, 90% of our idiot fan base will fool you into believing Fonseca's turned the ship around, but he is not. He is not. He is not. The worst thing that's actually happening to us right now is we have a run of relatively easy games, and it'll go on to portray the lie that Fonseca is actually capable of doing this job, and he is not. I am telling you, he is not. If you want to see how capable Fonseca is, wait till we're in the knockouts of the Champions League. We will get fucking destroyed against the first serious competition that we come up against. We will get ripped a new one. It won't. Forget 2 legs. It'll be done in the first game. Pazmino, is Pirlo a traitor or not? Not really. I mean, so if you look at it in the context of like Berlusconi right, fucked up by letting Pirlo go. We can confirm that, right? Because I mean, Pirlo still had a good few years at Juventus after we let him go. So, is he a traitor or not? No. It's kind of like you could kind of say, is CDK a traitor, or is Daniel Maldini a traitor? They were kicked out by the club. It's the unfortunate fact in that. Fahadinho, this is very smart, and this is what we need to do. So what we'll do, I think it makes sense if we do this after January. So we'll compare. So Fahadinho just asked the question. So he said, you guys need to do a financial comparison of what is spent over 2 years. So let's compare Maldini's time. And do you know what I'd like to do is I'd like to compare, let's say, let's compare 2 years, the last 2 years of Maldini's tenure, right? And I'll even remove the season where he was given no money. So if we remove that season and we get to, relatively unbiased years of what Maldini was given to spend, and we compare that against Redbird, let's see how we do. I think we should do that in January. Not that we're going to fucking buy players in January because, they're already talking this bullshit again now about, oh, Benacer is a new player. Moncada, like an idiot, right, came out and literally said we don't see the need to buy any players in January. So you go from, can someone please confirm this for me, right? But were we not in second this time last year? So if we look going into the Christmas break, I know we're a bit behind Inter, but I'm fairly sure that we were second. Because the only reason I'm asking is that if we were indeed second, and your sport, what is he? I don't know, scouting director. What is fucking Moncada's official title now? Scouting director or whatever. If your scouting director turns around and says we have dropped 6 places from last season compared to where we were. So in 12 calendar months, we have dropped 6 positions, but I don't see any need to be active on the transfer market. This, Carmelo, and this is the crux of the problem. They signed Fonseca for financial convenience and because they thought he could take the team to the UCL spot. The first part is the problem. They signed Fonseca for financial convenience. Anyway, yeah. All right, guys. Moncada, fuck, I forgot. Moncada is a technical director. Yeah, things are not looking good. And here's the really uncomfortable truth, guys, right? Whatever happens, we are fucked for at least 3 or 4 years. And I'll tell you why. So in the best case scenario that Redbird folds, right, which I don't think they will. I think they'll extend the loan at Elliott. We're stuck with Furlani and we're stuck with this frugal bullshit, for God knows how many years. Maybe 4 or 5 until this fucking stadium project is done. Even if we get new ownership, right, it will take at least 2 seasons, 3 seasons to in a safe way. In other words, not in a Yang Hong Lee kind of bullshit way, which is go in and spend 200 million, right? in a safe way where we don't get wrecked by financial fair play, right? We're going to need at least 2 or 3 seasons to rebuild a competitive squad. Because our right wing is broken, right? When let's say Pulisic isn't there, right? Granted, so we need a right back. To be honest, if Teo goes, all of the defensive line needs to be replaced, except for Gabia. That back four needs to be replaced. Anyone outside of Rangers is, I don't know, is not worth it in the midfield. Musas, while still being young, needs to go on loan. I'll give him that. But, outside of that, guys. Oh, well, hold on. No, I'm being a bit harsh on Fofana. Fofana is a good buy, sorry. That's another one for Redbird. So we're doing 3 out of 14. So, yeah, forgot about Fofana. He's a good player. But, I mean, we're still looking, guys, would need to buy 5 or 6 quality players, like. And the money and the amount of time that will take playing in the Italian league. Because you have to do it financial fair play wise. Does Milan even have a real striker? This is the thing. So Moneyball tells you, to buy a player. It doesn't tell you to buy a player that can actually help the team. It just tells you to buy a player that you can sell for more money later. Or to hit home runs, or, to have someone create a movie about you or Brad Pitt in it about a sport that's completely irrelevant to European football. That is where we are today. I think so. I believe I'd read somewhere, Christian. So Christian just said Real Madrid has a buyback clause to get Jimenez in the cheap. I think it's something like their first refusal. So in other words, if a team comes in with a bid, Madrid, having learned their lesson from Teo, they have first refusal on the player. That was my understanding, but I could be wrong on that. Yeah, Teo and Jimenez in the summer. I mean, Teo, listen, guys, we know we've covered it. Lab Gorilla covered it very well, the reasons why Teo is leaving. None of them are footballing reasons. So we can't be sour about it. But what I will be sour about is not Teo leaving. It'll be the fact that you can't replace Teo, no matter how good Jimenez is. And even if you're to try and replace Teo, trying to do that with Moneyball is going to be fucking impossible. So yeah. Anyway, guys, look, I love you all, truly. Thank you for spending some time with me. I can get all this aggression out. I love you all dearly. I am going to go get some dinner before I collapse. So thanks for coming out. So with Fadinho, with Mr. Christian Pazmino, with Carmelo. What else do we have? Oh, we had, of course, Mr. Nico from Milanista Report, my brother host. And we had, some other people as well. Guys, like, subscribe. What you shouldn't do, though, is, don't fund Redbird. Don't buy any new merch. Support your local Milan clubs. Buy retro stuff. Do not promote this farce. We're done now. We're past that. Like, subscribe, hit us up on X, Milanesis360. Check out Nico, Defensive Dynamo as well, the Milanista Report. Also on Milanesis360. Great content. Plugs for Max Lombardia, Max and Gino, 2 guys after hook. Good content. Check out Gio and Fabio at Milan Coast to Coast over on Milan Weekly Pod. You especially good guy. Yeah, that's about all I got. Peace, love. See you when I see you. Forza Manza, baby.
Italia!